All right, so talking about the apocalypse, um, revelations, I guess. So the first section of this is the Asia Minor part. I think um, there's a couple of things that kind of stood out to me. Is that like he made it pretty clear that John made Revelations as a symbol um, and a metaphor, or like even poetry to the people of that time in order to relate back to their like situation. And so a quote that I found that I thought was pretty powerful was um, it's on page 2, kind of right in the middle. It says, "Wake up, John called to the first century Christians in Asia Minor. You are compromising faithfulness to Jesus in order to fit into a pagan world. Wake up. Rome is a beast that takes its power from Satan and receives worship that belongs to God." Revelations 13. Wake up. This city and its empire are full of violence and idolatry. God is about to call Rome and its allies to judgment. And so I thought this was pretty interesting. Kind of my takeaway from this was like, obviously, power and Rome are um, like symbolic for the beast, or the beast is symbolic for them. So, like, my takeaway from this was like, for them, it was like straying into the desire for more power means straying away from God, which in turn means judgment or apocalypse for those that choose to have the mark of the beast. Second uh, prompt, I guess, was kind of like a modern or personal connection. So, well, I really liked his kind of section about pledging to the American flag. I thought that was really interesting. I'm trying to find this section. Yeah. So um, he says, in response to someone asking if he's either English or Canadian or something because he wasn't pledging his allegiance, he says, "I love this country I started, and I'm grateful for the opportunities and freedoms I have here. But I am first of all a Christian, and I have Christian brothers and sisters around the world. My citizenship is with anyone who follows Jesus, and it's hard for me to pledge my allegiance to anything else." So I thought this was really interesting. Kind of, even while reading this, I just thought like it's kind of forced upon kids in like, especially like elementary and middle schools, to like memorize a Pledge of Allegiance and every day, stand up, put your heart or your hand over your heart, and say it to the flag. So I thought that was interesting, kind of his struggles with that because of his Christianity. And so my question here would be like, how can we like fully pledge our allegiance to like America or even like a different country when in the case of America, like we hurt so many people that we don't even know about. So it's like, it's almost like if you pledge your allegiance to the country of America, it's like you have the mark of the beast, right? Because you're, um, um I mean, there's different ways. Like obviously, like he says, like this country is great, and there's freedoms and opportunities for everyone. But um, like kind of like idolizing it is essentially like what John was saying about Rome, like giving yourself the mark of the beast. And I on a side note, I thought it was interesting. This was section kind of reminded me of one of the Ellen Davis readings about, there's a paragraph about invisible people and how our selfishness like affects not people that we just care about, but also people that we don't even see and that we don't even know. I think the example that she gave was like grandchildren or like descendants further down the line. But in this case, it's like just people in other countries, other Christians that we don't see, that we don't know. And yeah, I just thought that was pretty interesting. And then three quotes that I really liked, that kind of all, not all the same, but all relating to the same subject. The first one is on page 5. Spirituality among Western Christians often is narcissistic self-fulfillment rather than radical discipleship. The second one is also on page 5. It says, John John may say John might say, sorry, we worship our souls rather than the Creator. And then last one is on page 4. We miss the subtle ways in which our society gets us to cooperate with beastly violence and idolatry. Um, so, like I said, I think all these are pretty similar, and they all have to do with kind of using like religion as a way to be more selfish. And um, obviously I agree with all of these. I think, and especially in like contemporary modern times, it's so easy to just think like, well, how does this benefit me? If it doesn't benefit me, then why am I doing it? Um, but I think personally that Christians should kind of focus more on helping others, um, in especially like in the midst of your own suffering.